The upcoming governorship elections are shaping up to be more than just a local contest. The stakes are high, not only for the people of Osun State, but for Nigeria's democratic process as a whole. With tensions simmering and political actors positioning themselves, this election is actually being closely watched as a barometer of public trust in the system.
Many observers see Osun as a litmus test for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, the security agencies, and indeed the political class ahead of the 2027 general elections. The credibility of the process here could either strengthen confidence in Nigeria's democracy or deepen skepticism. That's why every move from voter education to logistics and security deployment matters so much. Joining us for this discussion are two political analysts, Mr. Jide Ojo and also Mr. Charles Ideho, who happens to be a journalist also. A warm welcome to you, gentlemen, and thanks for joining us on the eve of this very important elections in Osun State.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to start with Charles in our studio. You've seen the build-up to it. Civil society groups are recording upwards of multiple deaths in the run-up to this election. Mm-hmm. It's a civic exercise, it's not a war. But we've also seen incendiary or heard incendiary statements and comments coming from people, lawmakers and others who you expect better from. What does this tell us about what's at stake tomorrow and your expectations for tomorrow's elections in Osun?
Yeah, so many things packed in your box of actions or question and all that. Whatever is happening is not unusual. It's something that that's a usual feature in any off-cycle election in Nigeria. The reason is very simple, because attention is on that state, and particularly if the state is not a state that is tied to the apron strings of the center, the manner of speaking, then it will generally, in most cases, it will happen that way. But though, you remember the Okpebolo and as well, Igodalo, and whatever it has happened, it's always like that. So it's not unusual.
But we just saw an off-cycle election in Ekiti State.
Well, Ekiti State, because it is the state, as I said, it's an APC state. So whenever it's, as I said, which of course I use a phrase that if a state is tied to the apron strings of the center, you usually don't have so much. I mean, that this kind of you call fight here and all that. In most cases, because the reason is that if you're tied to the apron string of the center really doesn't bother, because they think they've already had the state in their kitty. But if it is another state, if a state that is of another party, but the center wants to have that state to add to its kitty, so they will do everything possible in order to ensure that they get that state. What you tell us, I'm a balowo, you know, that kind of thing. We are going to take it away from, going to snatch it. Then the state apparatus over there that is, of course, not tied to the apron string, they want to do everything possible to ensure they exert their independence. They want to do everything possible to ensure that they retain whatever they've got there, to tell the center that we indeed can stand our ground against whatever forces you are bringing from the center. So that's why it's always like that. But as for the killings and all that, these are very, very unnecessary. All the brickbats and then the threats, somebody saying they're going to be killing certain members of another party, I think those things are very, very unnecessary, because whoever we are going to be killing is an Osun indigene. The person who is doing the killing is an Osun indigene. So it's very, very unfortunate that we have to have such thing attending the party, the election that is supposed to be within the state, one of the 30 states in this country.
I mean, I like the angle you put it. Yeah. The fact that, first of all, before you kill the next person, your brother.
Your brother, exactly. All of them are Osun citizens.
I mean, imagine if it's your family member because he chose to support another football club, and you belong to another football club, so you're going to kill him? Because
why would you kill him because of that? Wait, support base doesn't have to be. I mean, in human existence, they said what do you call it? It's a spice of life. You know, there's something they call it a spice of life. You choose yours, I choose mine. Then whatever you do, leave it to you. Whatever I do, leave it to me. So I don't have to kill you because you are an APC supporter. So I know why I support the party. That's it. It's part of like looking for that exactly.
Let's go to Mr. Jide Ojo very quickly. I mean, why are the stakes so high in this election? What are your thoughts? The stakes everywhere is heated up. What's your take?
Thank you very much. Incidentally, I'm from Osun State. My parents are from Osun State, both my mom and my dad. And I was one of those who advocated for the creation of Osun State way back in 1991, where I wrote a letter to the editor in then Daily Sketch asking for Osun State to be created because we were under Oyo State then. Oyo used to have 44 local governments, which was somehow unwieldy. We felt with Osun created development will percolate faster than if we remain in one omnibus or state like Oyo. You could see that even now in Oyo State, there's agitation for Ibadan State because of the population. Having said that, Osun has an history. When you look back, in the last 27 years, Osun had, since creation, Osun had 10 governors and military administrators, 10. But when you look at the trajectory from 1999, only Ogbeni Ralph Aregbesola has been able to succeed himself, in which case he's the only one that won election, 2 elections consecutively. Other governors have had their mandate truncated after 4th term. But you asked a very pointed question. Why is the state very high now? Many of us understand that President Bola Tinubu has an ancestry in Osun. That's one factor that many are not advancing their minds to. Number 2 is a Yoruba man. Number 3, Osun is in the southwest, which is supposed to be the home of the president, not just a state, but the entire zone supposed to be the home of the president. Number 4, in 2022, President Muhammadu Buhari was not as keen about state elections, who win and who loses, as this current president. You will realize that since 2023, we have had 7 off-cycle governorship elections. This is the 8th one. Out of these 7, APC had won 6. The only off-cycle governorship election that APC hasn't won was that of Anambra. And that was because of a deal that, okay, let's not use on that tactics to take Abga from Igbo people. More so, there is a personal friendship between Governor Chukwuma Soludo and President Bola Tinubu. And Abga is supporting President Tinubu in this election. The other point to note is that this is a bellwether election. This election is the last before the general election. So APC wants to use it to also make a statement of their popularity and acceptance across the country. The other point is also that out of the 5 states that are under opposition in Nigeria today, 2 of those opposition states are in the southwest. That's Osun and Oyo. Now, Governor Seyi Makinde has defected to APM, and Governor Adeleke has moved to Accord, not because he didn't want to join APC, but because there was a pushback in June last year when he made the attempt to join APC, because of the animosity between him and the former governor, Gboyega Oyetola, whom he defeated. So they have had a score to settle. In 2018, Oyetola marginally defeated Ademola Adeleke. Marginally in fact, it made history that was the lowest margin of victory in a governorship election in Nigeria. 300 and something votes, not 3,000, 300 and something votes. You remember, INEC declared the election inconclusive, and there was supplementary election in 7 polling units, where Iyola Omishoro, former deputy governor and former national secretary of APC, assisted them to win, even when he was under SDP at that time. And they made that deal. He supported them because those 5 out of those 7 polling units are distributed, and he assisted them to defeat Ademola Adeleke. 4 years after, Ademola Adeleke exerted his own pound of flesh and defeated Oyetola as an incumbent governor. But like I said, President Buhari at that time was not keen about men in state election. He allows the people to freely choose. But President Bola Tinubu has a lot at stake. It's his bragging rights to say, I mean, it's a common knowledge that he himself and Oyetola are cousins. It's already established fact that they are cousins from Iragbiji, even though President Tinubu claims to be a Lagos born. But home news has it that they have ancestry in Iragbiji. So it is Oyetola actually that is on the ballot vicariously, not Ambo, because Oyetola was the one that even removed every obstacles to ensure that Ambo became the consensus candidate. If you recall, out of 9 aspirants under APC, 7 of them who were heavyweights were, disqualified for very silly reasons. They were disqualified. They said they didn't get endorsement across it and all of that. And how do you imagine someone like Iyola Omshore, one Benedict, who was also former deputy governor, Babajide Omowurare, senator, will not get an endorsement across the state? But it was to pave way for the emergence of Ambo, because Ambo is actually the former commissioner for finance under Oyetola. Okay. And that was why, every obstacle was removed to have him as the governorship candidate. So if Ambo loses on Saturday, it will be a painful loss to Oyetola more than even to the candidate, because it is his integrity that has been staked for this election on Saturday. So a lot of variables and factors are on the table, and APC wants to do everything humanly possible using the Machiavellian principle of the end justifies the means to make sure that they win. And Adeleke, on the other hand, comes from a very respectable political dynasty. Their father, the father of the governor, was a Second Republic senator. His elder brother, Isaka Adeleke, was the first executive governor of Osun State after creation in 1991, and was a serving senator as at the time he died, early 2000, about 2000 and, I can't be too sure now, but he died while serving as a senator. Okay. It was after his death that the PDP now nominated Ademola Adeleke to go and run in the what's it called, the by-elections, and then he served as a senator, and eventually became. So the family of Adeleke has produced 2 governors and 3 senators, both of them from the same family. So they are very respectable political dynasty that even as held the title of being the most sophisticated political dynasty in Nigeria, having produced a father and 2 children that were senators, and 2 out of those children ended up being governors of the state.
Thank you, Mr. Jide Ojo. We'll come back to you shortly. Mr. Ideho, from our discussion so far, and the build-up to these elections, we've hardly heard talks of policy thrusts, what the people want. It's been drowned in this cacophony of violence and, he says, she says, and also the money bags, the display of wealth, the display of monies, the handing out of salt, yes, and all of that. Is this a sign of what's to come for Nigeria's democracy? You think would have done better, improved on the quality of our democracy going forward?
I would have loved a situation whereby we depart from the usual, because what you have listed there is the usual. I would have loved to see a situation whereby policies and actions will take the front burner as people discuss what they're going to be doing for Osun. But it's also missing, sadly. It's also missing.
I'm glad you're a member of the fourth estate of the...
Yes, I am.
Do you think the press is also guilty of this? Because they seem to like the sensationalism, you know, this person said this, is fighting. It sells newspapers.
It sells newspapers, but again, the press as we have it configured today, even though, sadly, I wouldn't want it to be on the way it is, but the press has become the product of the decaying society we have. Look at the ownership of the press, the media ownership today. You can't divorce whatever is happening today from media ownership. Look at who owns the media, either politicians or businessmen, apart from one or two that you could actually see as a practitioner. So, and then it is where the payer of the piper, where he looks, that the piper will also look. So media ownership is another factor we have to also look at. And then you also look at today, the media is suffering, actually. I mean, particularly the practitioners who are poorly paid. So if there's anything, you ask me, say, if I'm not going to Osun, I said, I'm going to be doing something that will pay me better than going over there. You understand what I'm saying? So all these things are whatever is you call a potpourri, the admission of here and there, of this and that has come out to look at the sensationalism on the headlines. And so in most cases, I'm also afraid, I'm also bothered that even the mainstream media, they're picking leads from social media. It wasn't so when I was a reporter in those days. It wasn't so.
You drive the conversation.
Exactly, you drive it. But today, you see that even the mainstream media are picking leads from social media they've not even done all their homework. When it was 2020 election, I was in Edo State, in Benin specifically, when the media, went agog about how killings in Edo. But I was in Edo State. Apart from just a singular incident at the entrance of the Oba Benin, that somebody was trapped under. There was no killing, nothing. But here in Lagos and elsewhere, people were thinking that we were all killing each other. It's the same thing is happening. If you go to Osun now, the picture that is being painted in the media may not be the same over there because of the sensationalism that you have in the media. So I think the media has a responsibility to also self-purge itself, also self-cleanse itself, and actually do what we are set up to do as the fourth estate of the realm, in order to inform the people and also inform them adequately. Whether we have a leaning towards the ownership of the media house we represent, or whether we have maybe interest in whatever party that is in contest. So all these things shouldn't actually bother the media at all. We are supposed to be very independent, and then we are supposed to be apolitical and do whatever it is so that the people can get people can get exactly issue of information as it should be. Yes.
Well, interesting facts to look into. Let's go back to Jide Ojo and let's see if we can make it brief and get more information. Our reporters will be joining us very shortly from different parts in Osun State, different parts of Osun State. But Mr. Jide Ojo, I mean, you are from your parents down to who you are from Osun State, and you've talked about why it is very key the president supported the current, candidate, Ambo, to ensure that he wins. But there's another aspect that nobody is talking about in Osun State. People have said that Osun State, they're very, very alert and they're very deep when it comes to politics. Do you think that the people will be out tomorrow to engage in their civil society and civil duty, rather? And do you think that tomorrow will actually prove that same point concerning the people of Osun State, that they are not easily bought? They know what they want and they go for it.
I hope so. I can only hope. I do not have all the aces. I gather that 31 Deputy Inspector General of Police and 30 Commissioner of Police have been deployed by the police authority, aside from the 15,000 personnel that the Nigerian police has deployed. Likewise, Civil Defense has deployed over 10,000. INEC has deployed 7 national commissioners and 15, 7 national commissioners and 15 resident electoral commissioners. I hope it will not be a case of too many cooks spoils the broth. But if it's to ensure the ballot integrity, to ensure peaceful election, I'm all for it. The most important thing is that all democratic institutions that have converged in Osun must learn to play by the rules. In the lead up to this election, we have seen that the institution of democracy have not entirely played by the rules. We've had the judiciary giving last-minute decision as late as July 22nd for INEC to put someone on the ballot paper, thereby necessitating the reproduction of millions of ballot papers. We've seen arrest, lopsided arrest of perpetrators of violence. I've asked myself if what Senator Francis Wanderers said had been said by the opposition element from any of the other 14 candidates, would that person have slept in Osun that same day? But you saw the way police invited him. He walked in, even with media, granting media interviews, saying that he was speaking metaphorically. I'm a Yoruba person. I knew he was not being metaphorical. He laid the foundation to what he said. He said he was calling accord people party of jaundice and yellow fever, and that they have been killing his people, and that there should be retaliation, and that he doesn't mind being recorded, being filmed. He doesn't want to see any accord person from that day, August 11th, to the election day. So how can you now be saying you were quoted out of context? You were only saying that you should kill them with votes. How do you put that, kill them with votes? How do you kill people with votes? But you can see the uneven-handedness. You have arrested 62 chieftains of a court party, but the one that is even blatant, you could not arrest him. You have to invite him and let him go. And now, there is also a couple of other people who have issued videos where incendiary statements have been made. None of them have been arrested. So you can see that even in the lead up to this election, the security agencies have not been very even-handed. There have been attempts to even deregister a court party ahead of this election. I hope you know that. That was the first technical knockout they tried to achieve. Those who were opposed to Adeleke, who wants to remove it. They listed a court party among the 5 opposition parties to be deregistered. If not for the Court of Appeal that overturned the Justice Peter Lifu's Jankara judgment of June 15, 2026, perhaps Adeleke will not even be contesting tomorrow's elections. So all manner of shenanigans have been at play. And I just hope that everybody will behave themselves tomorrow. I'm not a supporter of any of the candidates. I'm not a partisan person. I do not hold card of any of the 22 political parties. But I've worked in this ecosystem for over 2 decades. And I do know when there is a premeditated attempt to orchestrate a stage-managed victory for a particular candidate out of a contest. I know one when I see it. And obviously, it's going to be only a miracle that will save Ademola Adeleke tomorrow. Because the arsenal that have been amassed against his person and against his party, including even causing division within the party. You saw yesterday that the so-called national national chairman or the presidential candidate of the Accord Party came out at APC rally to say they are throwing their weight behind the APC candidate with all his own faction of executive. So we went to see how this will pan out tomorrow, but I hope there will be no more bloodshed because enough has been shed already.
All right. All right.
Very much.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
I believe my final question to Mr. Ideho is, how significant is voter apathy or enthusiasm in tomorrow's elections? Would he be a determining factor in who wins the elections?
Well, voter apathy is also a factor, whether you like it or not, because you need the voters' vote to put somebody to victory. If you have apathy, wherever you have voters, then what votes would you count?
But looking at the background, the build-up
yes.
towards this elections.
Well, some people will be afraid, as like what we be discussing about somebody, making such a statement. How would you expect somebody to come out when you say if you see any Accord person, kill him or kill them? Then if you are wearing an Accord, or if you are a known Accord supporter, then you'll be afraid to get close to wherever the ballot is, because you don't know whether you will have your life going to the polling unit and then not having your life intact, coming back home. So that also might create that fear in them and also contribute to a high level of voter apathy. But I hope it doesn't. Osun people are very resolute. They are also very, very bold. I hope that the boldness of the Osun people that we know will cause them to say, okay, they call the bluff of whoever made that threat and then go to the polls to elect whoever they choose. Because whether I like it or not, governors must continue. And then Osun, they have a right to enjoy whatever governor is going to be visited upon them. I mean, positive one, whether it's going to be from the Accord Party as a retention of the current administration, or whether it's going to be change of baton coming from whatever party, whether it's going to be the one that is being supported by Adeleke, of course, with home base in the Elisha area, or it's going to be Ambo, APC, or whoever. So Osun people, they have a right to have, positive governors being visited upon them after tomorrow. But what we need to do is that we need to let them know that whoever is going to be voting tomorrow is an Osun indigene or those who have the right to vote in Osun State. And all of them, they are equal joiners of the Osun project, equal founders of the Osun project. And indeed, all of them have, they are all stakeholders in the Osun project. So whether they are on whether they're on this side of the divide, whether they're on this side, all of them must join hands together, irrespective of whatever their leanings may be. Osun has to be at the center point of their interest. That's what I think all of them should look at.
Very interesting.
And that's the mentality
exactly
politicians should always have going forward.
All right.
Yes.
Gentlemen, I want to say thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you, Mr. Jide Ojo. I'm sure Mr. Jide would be getting himself fully ready and prepared with a lot of vitamins, because I'm sure you would feature...
But it's still in Abuja. Is he in Abuja? Whether it's going to be...
I mean, it was in Abuja 48 hours.
48 hours is a lot, yeah, exactly.
You'll be live
to get over to
we'll be making a lot of calls back and forth to know what is happening. But we have our men on ground, and it's good to have you, seasoned journalists, here with us to also look through the thin lines and read between the lines, telling us what it is and what is not, with our eyes on the ground in Osun State. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Jide Ojo, and thank you so much for being here as well.